Hello there, Hector the Bill here. This is going to be a very short video where, we will be addressing how to go about setting our target levels if we are trading the London Open breakout. Like I said, this is going to be a very short video. It's not going to take long because you are already familiar with the approach we are going to be following. Alright, so without any further delay, let's get started. Alright, let's assume we have a valid London Open breakout setup, okay, that being the beginning of the Tokyo session, this being the beginning of the European sessions, Frankfurt and London, 2-3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's assume we have a valid horizontal Tokyo range, okay, price entrapped, moving sideways within that range. We have the Tokyo range located at the lower end of the previous day's range, right? And in this case, we would have as the European markets open up, we would have a reversal breakout, or, well, if the previous day's range, if the Tokyo range is located at the upper end of the previous day's range, well, we will have a continuation breakout. Okay, either way, let's assume we do have a valid Tokyo range, a valid setup, so we will be waiting up on the European markets open up. We will be waiting for a breakout. This time around, just for the sake of simplicity, let's hope, or let's assume, we get a breakout to the upside. Okay? Now, as soon as you get the breakout, obviously you're going to be searching for your typical breakout pullback continuation pattern on the 15 minutes time frame, or for a full swing pullback in order to enter as the pullback dies out and you're beginning to see the bounce in the direction of the original breakout, or even if you get a fake breakout early in the morning and then, well, you search for the typical entry, for the typical breakout pullback continuation pattern in the opposite direction of that early morning fake breakout. Okay, assuming we get any of those different types of entry, all of them being valid, as we've already seen on previous videos, well, the first thing we need to do as we get, or as we feel that we are going to get an entry, is to obviously, as usual, calculate how far that particular trade can move within that trading session. All right, within that particular trading session. How do we get that? We already know that. We gauge the full projection as per the average daily range. Okay, we're going to be calculating the average daily range projection. You can calculate that automatically using my custom indicator, which obviously you are very welcome to download here on this page. Now, so we want to calculate how far from a statistical point of view price can go. Second, we want to calculate how many round numbers we have in between breakout point, or our entry point to be more accurate, and between that entry point and that full projection. All right, for the sake of this presentation, I've set three different round numbers in between. Okay, so as you probably know already, we are going to be using a 3 profit-taking levels policy in this particular scenario, because we have 3 different round numbers, all right, in between those 2 levels. So 33% of the trade is going to be exited at the first level, at the first round number, Another 33% of the trade is going to be exited at the second one, and another 33%, or actually 34% of the trade is going to be exited at that final round number before reaching or before covering the average daily range projection. All right. Obviously, as mentioned before elsewhere on a previous video, you want to exit 5 pips before hitting those respective round numbers. Okay, so entry right there, stop loss right there, first target, second target, third target. Now, how about stop loss management? How are we going to be trailing or treating our stop losses as the trade develops or evolves in our favor? Well, we are going to be using the round numbers not only for our targets but also for for our stop loss management policy, okay, or our stop loss management routine. There are 2 courses of action: the conservative way and the aggressive way. I'm going to explain them both, and then you need to decide which one suits your trading personality better. Some people are more aggressive with their stop loss management, some others are more conservative. I'm going to explain both of them, so you decide depending on what type of trader you want to be, either conservative or aggressive, well, you decide which one, again, suits your trading personality better. Alright, as you can see, I've marked with different arrows, what would be in blue your entry point, in red your stop loss, and in green the different target levels, okay, 33, 33, and 34% of the trade. Now, upon entry, well, obviously upon entry, if price simply dives down and hits your stop loss right away, there is not much you can do. There is nothing to manage there. Simply scratch the trade as a losing trade, and that's it. Now, however, let's assume price does indeed move in your direction and it hits your first target, okay? At that point, you've made money on 33% of your trade, all right? You are not, as a conservative stop loss manager, as a conservative trader, you are not to move, you are not to trail your stop loss to break even, to entry level. How is that? Well, because it's just not breathing room enough, all right? Do not be surprised, again, if from entry to the first target, you are not able to squeeze more than 20, 25 pips, okay, again on that first portion of the trade. Usually the first target, we use it as a psychological relief, all right? We want to make sure that early in the morning we've made some pips, we've made some cash, we take out a little bit, or we reduce down the levels of stress on that particular trade, and the best way to do that is to simply exit out, to simply cash out a portion of the trade in profits as soon as possible, okay? That's why, again, don't be afraid of closing a small portion of the trade early in the morning for small profits. Again, usually you can aim to make maybe 20-25 pips on that first portion of the trade, all right? So you do not trail on the first target, or upon hitting your first target, you do not trail the stop loss to break even. Now, once price has actually hit your second target, there is where you trail your stop loss. At that point, once price has hit your stop loss, your second target, sorry, you've made 33% of the trade on the of profits on the first target. On the second one, you've exited 33% also of the trade, so you've made money already on 2/3 of the trade. And now what you are gonna do is simply take your stop loss, and you're gonna trail it to break even once price is there. Okay, once you've made money on 2/3 of the trade, and from that point on, your job as a trader is done for the day. Okay, it's just done for the day. It's just now up to the forex gods to, well, determine whether price is to continue pushing to the final target, or to simply exit out, to simply reverse and to hit your first target. All right, sorry, your stop loss. It's, again, at that moment your job as a trader is done. You can simply close out your trading station or search for trading opportunities somewhere else. All right. Usually, once price has run, this much, usually chances are that the directional bias for the rest of the day is indeed going to be in the direction of that original breakout, and more often than not you will see that your final target is also hit. Okay, so again, usually when I see my second target being hit, I simply trail my stop loss to break even, and I am done for the day. All right, I close my trading station, or I look at other charts, and I'm done. Okay, at that moment the risk is already offset. I've made money on 2 portions of the trade, all right, first target and second target, so I'm only leaving a remaining 34% of the trade open. It's just a matter of, again, luck to see, or chances to see, whether price keeps on pushing towards the average daily range to what's statistically feasible, or simply reverses down, and, well, my stop loss is hit. Like I say, at any rate, my job for the day is done. Alright, so how would an aggressive trader deal with his stop loss management once he's involved in a trade? Well, entry price as soon as price hits your first target. An aggressive trader would be looking to trail the stop loss to break even. All right. The idea here is to not only secure profits as soon as possible, but also to offset the risk also as soon as possible. Now, if you do that, if you follow an aggressive stand on your stop loss management, do not be surprised if any random wiggle hits your stop loss and therefore kicks you out, knocks you out of the trade. Well, with just, walking away from the trade with a small profit. Okay, again, 33% of the profit that you were originally looking to take. Okay, you're not going to be profiting from any of that. But again, that's the extra degree of risk you are willing to take as an aggressive trader. All right, you are looking to trail your stop loss as closely as possible from price as possible as price evolves in your direction. So you trail your stop loss once price is reaches your first target. Now, once price hits your second target, you're looking to move your stop loss, to trail your stop loss to the location where you set your first target, meaning 5 pips below the first round number. What's the idea here? Well, the idea here is to make money or to secure profits out of all 3 portions of the trade, as the second portion is already in profits. Let me try to explain this. You're gonna make money out of the first portion of the trade. Now, you've already also made money on the second portion of the trade, but if price turns around from here and hits your stop loss, you are also going to make money out of that final portion of the trade. Okay, granted, you are only going to make 33%, all right, on that final portion. Okay, so you would make, out of the entire potential move, you're gonna make 33% of profits on the first portion of the trade, 66% of profits out of the second portion of the trade, and 33% of profits out of the third final portion of the trade. But still, you are securing profits out of the entire range of the trade. Okay, so that's what an aggressive trader would be looking to do. Also, as we were seeing on the first part of this video, once price has hit your second portion of the trade, your job as a trader is done. Now, price is floating somewhere in there. That's where your final target is located. That's where your stop loss is currently located. You can simply close out your trading station, go out, walk your dog in the park, which was what I personally do myself. Once I am, I'm done for the day. That's what I usually do. I like to relax a little bit, walking my dog out in the park. And again, or you can, continue searching for trading opportunities somewhere else. At the end of the day, your job as a trader is done. Walk away. There is nothing else for you to do, at least for the rest of the trading session. Alright, well, now that we know how an aggressive and a conservative trader would deal with the stop loss management, you're probably wondering what's my recommendation. Okay, do I recommend you to be a conservative trader or an aggressive trader? Again, I cannot really answer that question for you. That's totally up to you to decide. However, until you make up your mind, until you take that decision, my recommendation is that you follow a blended approach, okay, a mixed approach. That means that you follow a conservative approach as price hits your first target, and an aggressive approach as price hits your second target. So, at the beginning, as price hits your first target, you do not want to trail your stop loss to break even. You do not want to do that. You want to leave your trade a little bit of breathing room, all right? In case you get a little bit of a wiggle, a little bit of a random market noise as price hits your first target. However, as price hits your second target, you are not just going to trail your stop loss to break even, you are simply going to move it all the way to the first target. Okay, so once again, I repeat, you are conservative as price hits your first target. You are being aggressive as price hits your second target. Okay. That's just my recommendation. That's what's worked best for me personally in my own trading. Obviously, it's entirely up to you to decide which of the three options you're gonna follow. But again, my recommendation is to follow a mixed approach. Alright folks, that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Always remember to take into consideration the round numbers and the average daily range projection from an intraday point of view, as far as locating your target levels and managing your stop loss placements. All right, trust me, after many years of trading, I've come to realize that this is just the best policy there is for these two purposes. Okay, for these two goals. All right, folks, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.